Hi, friends, and welcome to Peace is Here. I'm your host, Avis Kalfsbeek. This is another special recap episode, the third, in our Wolff Peace series, a journey through Robert Paul Wolff's anthology, Political Man and Social Man. Each episode pairs one of Wolff's selected political thinkers with a peace warrior who lived out a different kind of vision, rooted in compassion, justice, or imagination. I love pausing for these recap episodes. Something happens when we step back and see all these thinkers, these peace warriors, side by side. Patterns emerge, ideas echo, and suddenly what felt like separate voices starts to sound like a chorus. Our series began with episode 45, if you'd like to start at the beginning, but jumping in midstream is wonderful too. Welcome. Today we reflect on part 2 of Wolff's book, The Individual and Society, and within that the section titled Classical Images of Man. In these essays, we're invited to ask, what is the nature of human beings? Are we rational calculators, emotional cooperators, or something far more complex? Are we made for freedom, for domination, for pleasure, or for production? These aren't abstract questions. They're the soil from which all our political theories grow. Let's take a quick walk through the thinkers we explored. The thinkers. Aristotle, in Political Man, paints the human as a zoon politikon, a political animal. For Aristotle, we find our fullest selves in civic participation and the cultivation of virtue. Thomas Hobbes, in his grim view of the state of nature, saw humans as fearful, self-interested, and in constant conflict unless reined in by a powerful sovereign. Jeremy Bentham stripped it all down to pleasure and pain. Man as a hedonistic calculator, seeking the greatest good for the greatest number. Karl Marx, in his writings on alienated labor, reminds us that humans are productive by nature. Work is not just survival, it's self-expression. But under capitalism, we become alienated from that very essence. And Marx and Engels together, in Man as a Productive Animal, expand that vision into a collective one, showing how cooperation and control over our labor shape the kind of world we live in. Wolff tells us that psychology is the natural prolegomenon to moral philosophy. That is, how we imagine human nature becomes the foundation of the systems we build. If we assume we are selfish, we design rigid rules. If we believe we can grow together, we open the door to liberation. Whoa, prolegomenon. Wow, that's quite a word. Prolegomenon just means a fancy introduction, the kind you might drop at a dinner party to impress your date or your dissertation advisor. Wolff's using it here to say, before we get to morals, we have to talk about what kind of creatures we are. Are we selfish by nature, cooperative, just hangry? Whatever we answer, that shapes the rules we make. But we didn't only study the thinkers. We also traveled alongside peace warriors who dreamed and acted from another image of what humans could be. The peace pairings. Malala Yousafzai taught us that even under gunfire, a young girl can raise her voice for education as a birthright. Satish Kumar, a Jain monk and an ecological pilgrim, walked across continents to show the world that peace is the real path of humanity. Leymah Gbowee, who helped end Liberia's civil war, revealed the strength of women in collective spiritual nonviolence. Ella Baker reminded us that grassroots organizing isn't about heroes, it's about people power. And Arundhati Roy, with her fiery voice and literary brilliance, continues to dismantle oppressive systems and defend the earth and its people. Together, these peace warriors reflect a different kind of anthropology, not one of conquest, but of connection. They ask us, what if we are born not to dominate, but to participate? Not to profit, but to produce beauty, not to survive alone, but to thrive together. Your peace questions to ponder. Big picture. Which vision of human nature most closely matches your own experience? Are we self-interested by default or shaped by the systems around us? Everyday life. How does your view of others affect how you interact in groups, at work, at home, or online? Do you expect conflict or seek cooperation? That concludes this episode of Peace is Here. You can learn more at aviskalfsbeek.com, where I share updates on this podcast and my books. I write best friend activist short fiction in the Pedro the Water Dog Saves the Planet series, eco-adventure novellas for readers who care about justice, joy, and saving the world one story at a time. And I'd be grateful if you followed my Kickstarter campaign at aviskalfsbeek.com/Kickstarter. Coming up next, more thinkers, more peace pairings, and more bold questions from the Wolff Peace series. This episode is human narrated by me, but created with the help of AI, which has promised to let me know if it makes something up. So far, no confessions. But if you believe I've missed something, or if you just want to say hello, I'd love to hear from you. Podcast music is Dalai Lama Riding a Bike by Javier Peque Rodriguez. You'll find links to his music on Spotify and Bandcamp in the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, it really helps me if you subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. A quick rating or review helps others discover peaceful, independent storytelling. And if you have a project that can use a calm, peaceful narrator, my cloned voice, Amaya Calm, is now available in the 11 Labs Voice Library, AMAYA Calm. The voice is designed to support storytelling that promotes peace and dignity. You can even have Amaya Calm read to you using the 11 Labs Reader app. She sounds like this. Peace is not something you wish for. It's something you make, something you do, something you are, and something you give away. John Lennon. If you haven't used 11 Labs yet, it helps me if you use the link in the show notes below. The link is try.11labs.io/peace, and 11 Labs is spelled out. I'll earn a small affiliate payment which supports my creative projects focused on peace. I'm Avis Kalfsbeek. Thank you again. Until next time, listen for the peace.